Welcome, everyone, to another PLA podcast. I have the absolute pleasure today of interviewing someone I absolutely adore and has one of the greatest energies I've seen in a very long time. Bhaskar, welcome to the PLA podcast.
Thank you, Dunya. I appreciate the time here. Hey, Dunya, before we get deep, one of my mentor and coaches always said, take a moment to share the gratitude for the day or for the podcast. So do you mind, we have a moment of that?
I love this. I love this like surprise opening. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
You want to share what you're grateful for today, please? And then
Sure.
yeah.
So I am grateful for in Montreal, Canada right now. It is a huge snowstorm, and usually I'd be huffing and puffing and having to snow out the car. And there was a certain type of magic when I walked into the house and my cheeks were super rosy from having shoveled. And it just made me think of my childhood. And it was an adorable and sweet moment where something that usually would probably frustrate me because it's taking up so much time and effort just created a little bit of sweetness and magic.
Oh, that is so nice. It just took you back to your childhood. Well, you know what I'm grateful for is the moment going to spend time with you today and what PLA has opened up a platform to connect to like-minded people so we can elevate each other. So thank you for this opportunity.
Amazing. Oh, Bhaskar, I totally agree. It's been such an amazing way to connect together and to connect to so many incredible individuals that are part of the community, with a community that's been really created and founded with such beautiful and pure intentions of really helping everyone evolve and grow side by side simultaneously.
It's so true.
So, Bhaskar, before we jump in, for those who haven't had the absolute pleasure that we've had in PLA of getting to know you and your story and your professional background, I'd love to run them through a little bit of who you are. So, I want to take a minute or so to really take the time on that. So, welcome this incredible guest speaker that we have, Bhaskar Manam, a digital product leader who has built and scaled products that move over 1 trillion annually. He has led product, strategy, and execution for major companies like Ford, Toyota, Citibank, CoreLogic, and ADP. He has managed complex product portfolios, including a 35 million product suite, a digital platform supporting complex systems processing. Bhaskar isn't just a strategist, he's an operator who ships. As lead product manager at TriNet, who took product from concept to launch, generated 4 million in new revenue in 1 quarter, coordinating go-to-market plans across 17 global development teams, and has built AI systems that improved operational efficiency. He's here to share what it really takes to lead products to scale, building high performance teams, and to execute effectively in the age of AI. So welcome, Bhaskar. It's so lovely to have you on here.
Oh, thank you, Dunya. I think that introduction was so kind of you to do research on my LinkedIn, but I want to share a few more points.
Absolutely would love that.
Yeah, I'm a father to two amazing teenage
Yes.
kids, and I have one amazing, beautiful wife. And there's so much in life that I could be grateful for friends and family. So I just want to share. I'm a family man.
It's so true.
I'm not all product.
Absolutely. And it's been beautiful because, and I want to get into this in more detail later on in our talk, but I just wanted to plant the seeds here. Those who don't know you, you have the absolute and immense privilege and gift that both you and your wife are so dedicated to your personal growth and development and have, worked on yourselves, your communication, and really your personal development like no other. And it's wonderful to see both of you as such a united front and team working on yourselves individually and as partners.
Yes, I mean that's a blessing and a privilege I have that my wife is on the same boat, and we're doing it not just for ourselves but for our future. As I said, we have two teenage kids. We want to make sure we give the best not only to them but to the community around us. So we're just wanting to do this together. So thank you. Yeah.
Incredible. I love this. Okay, so I'm curious to know though, Bhaskar, so many of us, oftentimes look back at our journey and our career and think with all of this new knowledge and experience, there's certain things we wish we had known at the beginning of our career, knowing everything that we know now. So I'd love to get your perspective and take now that you've become quite successful and have worked on major product projects. And so there's something to be said on, had you known something at the beginning of your career, knowing everything you know now, what would it have been?
Very deep question, and what is bubbling up right now, Dunya, are two key points which I'm thinking. It's one is trusting in yourself, your instincts. Make sure you trust in those and speaking up at work and wherever you are called for. And don't hold yourself back. When you have that instinct, when you have your gut feeling right, just flow with it. You have a voice in every room you enter and every room you are invited for, right? There's a reason for you to be there. So speak up and make that change and have a great impact. I think I honestly, whenever I was invited to a meeting, I was like, what can I say here? There are C-level executives, there are VPs. Oh my God, I need to keep my mouth shut. But on the contrary, I was there so that they can hear my perspective, what I bring to the table, and my uniqueness. And that is what I wanted to share to my younger self. Bhaskar, you're there on the in that room on the table for a reason. Get your unique perspective showcased with your voice.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I think that there are some really key elements that you brought up, that piece around that instinct. And I know that it makes me think of a particular book by Malcolm Gladwell called Blink. And it's that piece where sometimes there's this little hunch inside that's saying something doesn't quite feel right about the solution, or I think there's got to be a different way or approach to this project. And especially at the beginning of our career, we tend to shut down out of shyness or not knowing that our invitation into those meetings, our ability to already have a seat at these tables, is in some ways an invitation to say, wait, if you're getting this thought and sensation, please share it, because there is value to you being in that room. If not, you wouldn't have been invited in the first place.
That's so true. And there's another second point I know I mentioned I wanted to talk about is go slow
Mm.
to gain speed. And the reason I say that, there are so many projects, programs, and products I've worked on where we wanted to get going and deliver this. But if you do not go slow, take your time in analyzing what you want to do, knowing your users, your what you're catering to, you would go wrong in the
Mm.
long run. So go slow in understanding whom you're serving to with that product and the project. And then you can deliver amazing things and you can go fast and explode in your delivery.
That's so true. So many times we feel like we're rushing against the clock. And you're right, we make mistakes and overlook really key elements and details and taking the time of asking ourselves those important questions when we are rushing, and make so many mistakes in the process instead of really taking our time to be able to deliver at the height of what we're capable of. And I love this. So it almost, those are really key elements to think about. Trust your instincts, speak up and communicate what you're feeling, that uniqueness. I love that you brought that up. And that piece of slow down to speed up, slow down to truly deliver value, quality, and make sure that those details aren't overlooked and some, key mistakes can be avoided.
Yeah, no, in product management world, we call it know your customer.
Yeah.
And Mahatma Gandhi said, customer is your God. So always know your customer
I
and
love
deliver to what they are needing. Don't assume things. Get to know them. But anyway, yes.
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much there. I had no idea about that quote, so I love it that you brought that up. And so, it brings me to my next question. Oftentimes, when we look back at our careers or even our life, it's the most difficult times we've been in. Our biggest challenges end up leading to the greatest breakthroughs and greatest opportunities. I'd love to know, if you were to reflect on your own journey, what have been your biggest challenges along the way?
I I turn my challenges and weaknesses into my superpower. And one of the biggest weakness I had is communication skill. And that I was like trying to get promoted in one of my job, and I was like talking to my manager and peers and even senior leaders, like, how can I get there? And one of the senior leaders, who was very kind, shared, Bhaskar, work on your communication skills and your articulation, and you will get the seat at the table. And that really kicked into me. And the very next day, I was in LA here. The very next day, I Googled for articulation coaches, communication coaches, what else? And I came up with this one person called as voice coach. He's a Hollywood. He coaches for Hollywood actors and actresses. And this person, I signed up with him, super expensive. I probably went for 4 classes, but he changed the game for me. I and I can't say enough about this transition I had during that time. And then I invested into more of that sort. As I said, I was in LA. I signed up for impromptu comedy shows and comedy clubs, and also coaching around that. There are clubs who would coach you so that you can do the show in the evening. So I went there and did that. I signed up at a local community colleges where they were doing impromptu talks and things like that, Toastmasters, and many things like that. And I still feel I'm challenged in that area. I didn't make it through, honestly. It is still my weakness. So I continue to work on it even till today.
You know what I love about, first of all, I had no idea, and I know you quite well, which is I'm blown away right now, and that's why I love the PLA podcast, because even those I've known so well in PLA, I'm like still learning so much about each and every one of you. What I love about this share, though, is how willing you were to go out there, invest in yourself, and get out of your comfort zone. Because I'm sure so many people listening are probably thinking, comedy club? Oh my God, getting on stage and telling jokes, that's extremely intimidating. And oftentimes can have people deeply hesitant of making those moves and really, but you went all out, stood out of your comfort zone, and you were very resourceful. That's what I like about the story. It's like I started with a voice coach, I went to the comedy coach, I went to the comedy club, then I started to explore these different options. Very, very powerful and a testament to your dedication.
Yeah, what I learned is you really need to have a sense of humor in those boardrooms, in those rooms with high pressure, so you can make a difference at that time. So, so I really invested in that. And believe it or not, I had speech impairment, weak at language skills capturing, and so I really had to. I'm still working on it, honestly. People who are listening to this would say, Bhaskar, you're not perfect. Is that my inner voice saying? But I'm sure. And some people come to me and say, Bhaskar, you did such an amazing job. How did you do this? And I'm like, I am struggling inside as much as you see the comfort outside. So here you go.
And I love that. That also highlights quite a bit. So many of us are looking to others thinking, wow, they really have mastered the skill. And within themselves, they may not be having that own experience. And it's actually in their humble attitude and their own perspective that they're committed to continue to grow that makes them so skilled. So yeah, wow, there were some great nuggets in what you've shared, truly.
Yes, Zinnia, thank you for asking that question. I didn't even reflect on that until you asked.
And I like that last little piece around bringing humor into the boardroom. I think that we oftentimes paint a picture in corporate that it's quite cold of a culture and quite serious and nobody has time for humor. But really, humor is healthy, especially well-placed humor. Let's be honest, it has to be appropriate, of
Mhm.
course. But there's something really powerful, especially when we're working on a team and the stakes are high and we are highly stressed and the brain is no longer able to think outside the box, be creative, be flexible and adaptable, and generate energy to keep pushing through and continue to be resilient. Well, then humor can actually break that energy, break that, frustration, and just allow us to say, wait a minute, let's slow down, get flexible, think outside the box, and just take a little bit of that edge and pressure off to be able to perform more.
No, totally. Humor is the grease that can keep it going, and it brings joy and happiness. So, right on.
I love it. I'm curious, we can't have a conversation really on any podcast, I'd say, without having or actually exploring the topic of AI. That is the reality. We are living in a time of great transition and change. And so I'd love to get your perspective. What has been your relationship or your experience with AI and your take on it?
Yes, this has been a constant question. I posted a couple of articles on this in my LinkedIn, and just to bring it home, AI. First of all, yes, it's getting all the wind because the it is catching that way right now. However, you have seen this transition in all our lifetime: light bulbs, steam engines, telephones, and electricity,
Yeah.
airplanes. I can keep going on and on and on. What they did is didn't change a thing for human, except for they speeded up the process of getting to a place, making more goods in a factory, or travel and opportunities to people. AI is exactly the same. It's going to increase the opportunities. It's going to give you back your time that you value the most when you put it to use. And it is going to change the way we do businesses
Mm.
because it's all about business process enhancements.
Yeah.
You can serve more people now with the tools instead of just serving one on one. Now dunya could be 100x depending on how many clones she can create and how many people. Dunya could be an AI clone doing a podcast with 10 other people on the other side. That is
Wow.
exactly what is happening, believe it or not, Dunya.
Unbelievable. I don't know
Right.
if the world could handle 100 more of me.
It's interesting you said that. Always, at work, I say to the best of the best people, I wish I could clone you. I wish I could clone you. So you could have 3 meetings and 4 meetings and you can get there. And those are the people who are going to get cloned, the best
Yeah.
of the best.
Oh, amazing. Oh, Bhaskar. And you're right, we have seen so many major changes throughout history, and part of it is an invitation to adaptability and seeing the good and being able to use that tool, implement it strategically, and being very intentional in our use of it is really those that are going to succeed because there are great opportunities and doors that this could open up for each and every one of us.
Yeah. On the cloning thing, something just occurred to me. You, Assuming you believe in someone,
Yeah.
could be, let me take, I have a, Sadhguru, a lot of people like go to him to for answers, or Tony Robbins,
Yeah.
or many of those amazing people. Just think if Tony Robbins was right here in our podcast, answering to your questions and my questions, wouldn't that be amazing?
Incredible.
Right? In
Yeah.
his face and voice and everything. And he gets this power and energy, and there you go. I would love that. And
Yeah.
he is going to do that. He's cloning himself, by the way. But anyway, that's a different topic. But
But
yeah,
you're right in terms of it is evening out the playing field and creating these resources like these great mentors, like you're mentioning, far more accessible to the average person. While before, Tony charges, I don't know if it was like 1 million the hour, something like, or 1 million the day. These are price points that the average person will never see in a lifetime to be able to invest in themselves in terms of coaching. But once we've created AI tools that replicate their energy, their answers, their thought patterns, it's like, wow, all of a sudden, all of us have access to that zone of genius.
yes, totally.
Bhaskar, I have my next question for you. Really is actually it's one of my favorite questions on the PLA podcast. What legacy and impact are you looking forward to leaving behind in this world?
This is one thing. When we grow up, we want to make such an impact in the world, change. I had a friend who was handicapped, and I said, I want to, I want to make sure I can do something. He didn't have a leg, so I wanted to do because of polio back in India. There was polio was a big thing, and I wish I can do something for them, robotic leg, or create some amazing features that they could use, access to any place, anywhere, and so on. And with time, I just lost track of it.
Mm,
Life happens. What do you want to give back to the world? I think I'm in a ejection of life where I'm ready to give back to the world. And it's not just handicapped people anymore.
mm,
It's not physically handicapped. What I have realized with my own, and I'm getting into a little bit of vulnerable zone here with my own life and people I'm starting to getting to know. There is a mental handicap in all of us.
mhm. Yeah.
There's a limiting belief in all of us in how I can give back
Mm.
in that sense to unlock the true potential of every human being, physically or mentally.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
that's what I would like to leave a legacy back. Yeah.
Mm. I love that, Bhaskar, and it's so right. So many highly talented individuals spend so much of their time, like a lot of us, doubting ourselves and questioning our worth, and in some ways, in this sense of analysis paralysis, and not being able to truly benefit from the gifts that are all of this knowledge and wisdom and talent that each and every one of us has in our own way to offer this world. So I love that you're bringing this up, and it is a very difficult time in throughout history of this. People are questioning themselves and are more afraid than ever just because of this game of comparison, instead of
Yep.
understanding the value that they each and every one of them bring. So I love that you brought this, and I love that you even brought this up to your childhood, where it's like, I even had a handicapped friend, and I was thinking, how can I make this world a better place? And the sense of awareness and responsibility has been there within you for a very long time, which is so touching.
In product management world, we call it you are the first product you need to work on.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? So your products get better when your product, you yourself as a product, you work on it, and everything else flows from there. So I really believe in it. And the more, and this is one thing I like about Steve Jobs. He really, really knew what exactly he wanted. He was centered within himself,
Yeah.
and he didn't shake, or he didn't have that doubt of anything, any decision he made.
Mm. Wow.
So anyway, that's where I feel the best products come out of people who are aware of themselves.
I'm so touched by this quote. I think part of me is going to selfishly ask you to write a LinkedIn article on that.
Oh my god. So I'll try. Sometimes it just flows, but yeah.
And our audience will hold you accountable. Don't worry about it, Bhaskar. Because I think there's something quite powerful of that quote, and really encouraging everyone, whether they're in the product management space or not, to invite them to take a look at themselves and start working on them to begin with, because everything around them will benefit from that.
Dunya, I'm gonna share something very vulnerable, which I came as an immigrant into this country. Uh, and when I landed, I was within my lane, to say in the lightest way. I just did what needs to be done. I stayed together. You need to survive, right? You're in the survival mode. But then the question you asked, what advice you would, but if you have the instinct, you have the power, irrespective if you're an immigrant, if you are under any limitations, you just have to go out and believe in yourself, trust in yourself, and make it happen.
Beautiful.
I don't know how to better put it, by saying you have to work on yourself before you help others. Like the mask analogy in the airplanes, yeah. So
Totally. And we forget this. It sounds like such a simple example, but so many of us fall in that trap of getting so distracted, and not in any ill intention, in great intention, of being able to help everyone else around us, and focusing on everything happening outside,
mhm.
until a point of depletion where we then go through a bit of a wake up call and realizing, wait a minute, if I don't take care of, nurturing myself in this process, I won't be able to really be of service to those I love and what I'm meant to do in this lifetime.
Oh, totally. I have about probably, I might be underscoring this, 5 to 6 coaches
Beautiful.
from my physical communication, life, work. I think I'm actually putting it in a wrong spot. Not 6 coaches. Every person I meet is a coach in my life. I
Ooh.
take away from something from people at work, and I tend to learn that. So these are the 6 coaches probably I pay, but every individual I listen. Well, the two best coaches in my life are my teenage kids. They
Mm.
really show you who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
They really question more than anybody else, and it gets you out there to really introspect and change.
It's so powerful, and I think you bring up, yeah, I love that. I think so
Mhm.
many parents listening to this podcast can totally, totally relate. Wow. My last question for you, Bhaskar, is we're on the PLA podcast, and I'd love to know what has been your greatest takeaway from PLA in the community?
Well, for people who are listening to this podcast, I think I would understate, if you have not heard, that every individual I interact with PLA, every coach I interact with PLA has changed a cell in me in some way or the other. So I don't want to state any more than that, Dunya, because I have said enough on on that note of how people who have touched me in every
Yeah.
walk of their life has changed me.
Absolutely. And if anyone is curious about PLA, we constantly host these amazing free workshops and trainings that are actually hosted by the founders themselves. So much value is provided during those workshops. So if anyone is curious, and even if you never hear of PLA again after attending this, I promise you, you will be blown away by the tools and the results you will get even in the days of the workshop. So I recommend it to everyone that I meet, just simply because I've gotten so much value out of the PLA free training and workshop. So I put the QR code here. If you are curious, feel free to scan this. You'll just get the information to where to go and how it's hosted. And that's pretty much it. Just so I'm not leaving anyone in the dark in case someone is curious, I'm happy to post that over. Bhaskar, I just wanted to thank you so much for this amazing, amazing conversation that we've gotten to host. And it's always such a treat and a gift to be able to chat and connect again.
Yeah, then yeah, this is amazing for me too. Before you end the recording, and these are like the extras after the movie reels that you see. Let's do let's do something fun for people
I
who are
love it.
listening to stay back and listen. Like, Dunya, what are the I talk to Dunya, guys who are listening. I talk to Dunya one on one whenever I hit the ball, and she has been amazing. And every tip she gave me was deeply hit in a way that I had to go and do a whole new work. I'll give you 3 tips. And people, this is a gem. Let me put it this way. It has got me from, I think, where I was plus 10 every time I used Dunya's tips. First one, be your own advocate, be your own supporter.
Wow.
I put it on my mirror, and she asked me, write a post-it basket, put it everywhere. Tap on your back and say, hey, you are your best supporter. You are there to support yourself. Use that. Second tip, check your energies.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes you are very low on your masculine energy. Sometimes you are very low on your feminine energy. And this is not only for males, for everyone.
Yeah.
Check your energy. tap into those and connect with Dunya if you need to know the tips. She gave me a tip. I'm going to not share that, but check in your energies and tap in, make it upbeat, or dial it down, whatever you need to do for the day. Third one, always start your day, your interaction with an individual with an intention. This is Dunya's tip, right? Always start a day or a meeting or interaction with anyone with an intention, and you will see immediate success on all those three tips. I promise. Love you all. Take care.
Bhaskar, that was amazing. By the way, none of this was planned. I'm just as shocked as everyone else listening. That was incredible. And I just want to say thank you so much. That was a beautiful gift and such a special way to finish our episode today. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Dunya. You're amazing. Take care. Bye.
And to everyone listening, we will catch you all on another episode for the PLA podcast. And Bhaskar, hope to have you again as one of our guests.
Take care. Yeah, sure. Will do.